Hello, welcome back to the channel, and today we'll be talking about just the recent stretch of Pistons games we've had in the past couple of days. One very good, one very bad, and I think there's a lot of things you can learn from it. There was a clip online that I was reacting to on Twitter. I saw Stan Van Gundy talking about how the Pistons and their lack of shooting could end up screwing them up and doing some stuff, and I was like, okay, yeah, I'll see what happens there. And then obviously you start thinking about it, and you're like, huh, interesting. And this is coming off of the win against the Thunder. I totally forgot about the loss to the Spurs. And looking back on that, you're like, man, what could we do better? So let's just look at the games and talk about what happened. So yeah, Monday night, Pistons played the Spurs. It was a very feisty game. Initially, we saw Wembanyama getting into it with Duran multiple times. He was on the floor a lot, ended up with a really good game. But obviously, this game, for if you watched the game, you remember Devin Vasil went crazy. He hit 7 threes in the game. I think he started 3 for 3, like the first media timeout, basically, for not media timeout, but when they call a timeout a couple minutes in, and you're just looking at like, man, Pistons are fighting and clawing for every basket. Wembanyama covers all of the space, and Stephen Castle forced Cade to have one of his worst games of the year. He's 5 for 26, ended up with 3 turnovers, and they're just up in their grill, just getting physical. And you're watching this game, and it's like, man, thankfully, not everybody has a Wembanyama and a Stephen Castle and can just completely lock you up and end the game. The things you take away from this game: will the lack of shooting hurt? There's another game where Pistons go 7 for 36, under 20% from three. It happens a lot. And you look at it right here: Ron Holland 1 for 6, Paul Reed 0 for 1, Javonte Green 0 for 3, Dennis Jenkins 0 for 2, Levert 1 for 3, Cade 2 for 9, Robinson 3 for 11, and Tobias 0 for 1. And it's like, man, that's just not sustainable. The fact that you only lost by 9 points with 19% shooting is crazy. And that's basically why the Pistons are up there. So will the lack of shooting end up biting them? Potentially. Because I keep doing this, and I was doing this on the All-Star deadline. I don't even know if I even said it on the channel, but I just keep thinking and seeing myself that we're gonna be in a spot where, you know, you're playing these guys and these teams like the Knicks and stuff down the stretch, and they got a guy like Cat that can spread the floor, and you got Dern and Asar that can't shoot, and Tobias is struggling mightily. He can't shoot either. So it's just interesting. When he can't shoot, he can shoot, but just hasn't been recently. And that's the part where it's like, is this really gonna bite you? It might. Obviously, there's only one to find out, but not many games are gonna shoot that bad. A lot of it was due to good defense. A lot of it was just a bad night. And more importantly, playoff series are 7 games for a reason. Most case scenario, or worst case scenario, you need to have 4 wins. It's hard to lose that many games in a row, and the Pistons rarely have those games in a row. Now the only other thing, Cade got into a little scuffle with I believe it was Vassell. No, I think it was Castle. Where he shoved him to the ground. The benches cleared. There's a whole thing. Well, not benches cleared, but the equivalent of benches clearing happened. And it's like, I feel like the Pistons have gotten to this point where everyone lazily thinks all they do is fight and all this stuff. Blah 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 blah. The Pistons fight. Blah, 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 blah. And I think it's the point where everybody wants to kind of like, for lack of a better term, I would say clip farm. That's stupid. I'm saying that word like this, but I feel like everyone's like, oh, okay, I can go viral. I can get a little clout going, if I crash out on these guys all the time, which happens to a lot of people against the Pistons. So, you might get a little bit of that because I don't think Castle is really a guy that fights like that. I know they didn't really fight, but he was an NBA fight because Pistons fights are different than NBA fights. But I think, everyone's going to give you your best effort, and they're looking to give you a quick whistle. At the same time, Draymond Green can say a lot of stuff and no one gets mad at him. Well, he doesn't get teased as much. He gets a lot of tease, but he can say a lot of stuff before he gets a tee. So if the Pistons, you start, getting used to how physical this is and getting these little brouhahas, when it happens in the playoffs, maybe they won't tee up, who knows? You're kind of like almost earning your leash. Now, for the good, Pistons played at the Thunder last night. I could be lazy and say they won by 8 and it was an easy game. It was not. It was a tough game at the end. disclaimer: the Thunder without a lot of their players. I believe maybe even their entire like top starting five. So they got Caruso, SGA, Jalen Williams. The other Jalen Williams went crazy, but this Jalen Williams is out. The JLEN. Who else? Hartenstein. And there's a fifth one. Chet. So there's your starting five, I think. And they were out all of them. So the fact that this game was as close as it was is a little worrying. But you beat the team with the best record in the NBA. It's that's all you can see from the headlines. The good is the hustle, never give up. I wrote it as two different things, but it's essentially the same. Pistons were down 34-22, and I talked to my buddies and even text my dad. I'm like, under no circumstances will we lose this game. It just was one of those games you felt like there was nothing that was keeping this team out. I think they got to like even money line or whatever, and it was like no, we're winning this game. And what happens? How do you respond from a quarter where you lose by 12? 36-18, right back at them. Is it as simple as you can look at the shooting percentage and you can tell me the Pistons won or not? Pistons were shot 33% tonight. That's not even that good for the NBA. That's like league average. They won the game comfortably. Well, not comfortably, by 8 points. It's easy to say at the end, but they won the game. You had Duncan 3 for 9, Cade 3 for 5, Green 3 for 2, LeVert 1 for 2. Ron, Herter, and Jenkins combined for 0 for 6, and even with Tobias 0 for 8. But still, you had Cade was at 60%, Duncan 30, and Javante 66, LeVert 50. That's all you need. I mean, and once again, Duran went crazy. There's a lot of talk about is he going to be worth the extension? Who knows? 19 points, 12 of 17 shooting, by the way. 15 boards, 2 assists, 2 fouls, no turnovers. For a guy that can't shoot, that's a pretty damn good game. Asar did his classic 11 minutes, 5 for 7, some 4 rebounds, 7 assists, 3 turnovers, but one foul. He gets a lot of turnovers when he's doing it, but 1 foul for Asar is crazy. That's an incredible game for him. And you saw the hustle, you saw the effort. Pistons had, what is this? 9 steals, 12 blocks. Paul Reed had 4 blocks off the bench. Cade had 3 blocks as a player, a guard, which is crazy, including a chase down block on Nikola Topic, who just came back from cancer surgery, and he told him, some mean things, and Twitter was not being nice to Cade about it. But I even joked, I quoted it on Twitter, and I'm like, anyone from your favorite player's favorite player to your grandma gets the same effort for the Pistons, and that's a good thing. We bring it, whether you want to or not. I don't recall a brouhaha in this game, so that was a major step up for the Pistons. But it's just the classic Jekyll and Hyde thing for him. You shoot 33%, you win the game. You shoot 19%, you lose the game. It's getting to the point where you can just do it with the Pistons. You just look down the line, look at the 3-point percentage, and if it was good, you're good. More importantly, if Duncan was good, you're good. And that's the thing that I talked about at the beginning. And unfortunately, Stanley and Gundy pointed out. Shooting. Will it kill us Pistons in the playoffs? I don't know. I don't think so, but because the defense and the hustle, you can't get that. You can always find shooting. Not now, but maybe in the buyout market. So let me know down below what you guys think. If the Pistons would be screwed or not without this without the lack of shooting that they've had. You're really missing a guy like Malik Beasley right now, but obviously he's playing for Bad Bunny down in what is that, Puerto Rico. So yeah, thank you all for watching. Please like, subscribe, hit the bell when I post notifications, and yeah, we'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Right here. Detroit, I'm all the way in. Detroit Pistons, I'm all the way in. Let's do it. Hell if I made this beat, baby.